tonight, the major change of the CDC that will bring more students back into the classroom. The CDC shortening social distancing guidelines for students from 6 to 3 feet with masks. It could be a game changer for schools that are struggling to reopen, but growing questions, how will they make up for a year of lost learning? President Biden at the CDC as the U.S. hits his goal of 100 million shots. Can the nation reach 200 million by the end of his first 100 days? And the race to stop a fourth wave. Dr. Fauci's new warning on those variants. The president, also the consoler-in-chief in Atlanta after the deadly shooting rampage. All 8 victims now identified, 6 of them Asian women. Our interview with one victim's son, the last moments they shared. New crime scene surveillance video and the growing outrage. Police yet to determine, was it a hate crime? The Homeland Security chief on the border as we go inside the camp where migrant families have waited for asylum for over a year. A current aide to Governor Andrew Cuomo, now the 8th woman to come forward against him, the inappropriate behavior she alleges. And the young man whose letter is inspiring America. The surprise. Good evening, everyone. The rules of social distancing are changing tonight, but significantly those changes only apply to school kids. What was 6 feet is now 3 feet of separation in classrooms. The CDC hoping that shortening the distance will give many schools, particularly those that struggle with overcrowding, the ability to accommodate safe in-person learning. The pressure to get kids back in the classroom has never been higher, and as you'll hear from kids themselves in just a few moments, many are losing ground. On the other hand, COVID is not releasing its grip on this country without a fight. In a few moments, we'll hear how cases are picking up again and variants are taking hold, just as we've been warned. But let's start on this Friday in the classroom with Stephanie Gosk.
3 feet instead of 6. That's the new CDC guideline for social distancing in schools K through 12.
We now have new information to help us refine our recommendations.
But there are caveats. Everyone still has to wear masks. If community transmission is high, middle and high schoolers should go back to 6 feet apart. And the new recommendation does not apply to teachers and staff, who should still maintain distance from other adults and students. But federal officials say the change should help school districts open classrooms, as long as other safety measures like hand washing and testing are in place.
I'm hopeful that we are turning a corner on this pandemic. Getting our children back to school in-person instruction as soon as possible is a critical first step in doing so.
As the damage done from a year of remote school becomes clear.
What's been the toughest part for you?
I'd say to find motivation to do anything, really.
Mario Delgado's high school in St. Paul, Minnesota has been remote all year, except for some support sessions. He goes back to in-person learning in April.
A lot of the times I don't even get up from bed. If I really do pay attention, I'm not really learning anything.
Is it tough to hear him talk like this? For a mom, it's going to be hard to hear all this.
It is. It's really hard. And I'm really sad and a little afraid that when he goes into college, there's things that he didn't get this year.
The effect of remote learning was felt immediately in St. Paul. In the first semester, 31% of middle and high school grades were failing.
Were you hearing stories from your teachers about kids who were really great students who just kind of fell off a cliff here?
I was hearing that from teachers, from parents, but I was hearing it from students too. I had many students reach out to me personally and say, listen, superintendent, I'm an AB student and this isn't working for me.
But the problem isn't just the academics. In San Francisco, where the whole system remains remote, one children's hospital says it is seeing a spike in mental illness, including eating disorders and suicide. Viola Boitoni's son is a junior in high school. His grades have plummeted.
After really trying to work on the academic part, things got so dire that we had to start worrying about his mood, really. We had to take him out of the city for a while.
She wants her son back in the classroom, as do the parents who took to the streets this month in protest, blaming the school district and the ongoing fight with the teachers union.
I think that our board and our district are out of touch with how much children are suffering.
Getting schools to reopen hasn't been easy. Making up for a year of lost learning and isolation could be even harder.
Stephanie, I have to wonder, do the schools have plans to get students back on track?
They do, Lester. Several districts are looking to summer school programs to make up lost ground, while some students and parents we spoke with want more than that. Many families are actually pushing to redo the entire year. Lester?
That'll generate some conversations around the dinner table tonight. Stephanie, thanks. As restrictions are relaxed, health officials warn we may be moving too fast here. Can vaccinations keep us ahead of this virus? While more than 77 million have been given at least one vaccine dose, hospitalizations right now are at 33,000. Infections are rising in more than a dozen states. Here's Miguel Almaguer.
Tonight, as our nation is reopening and as more Americans are vaccinated, it's virus variants triggering worries of a fourth wave. New infections are climbing in nearly a third of all states, a growing number connected to the UK variant, known as B.1.1.7, which health officials now believe is deadlier.
It was a 64% increased risk of death for those with the B.1.1.7.
The UK, Brazilian, and South African variant of the virus aren't the only ones of concern. California's homegrown strain is spreading rapidly, found as far away as Hawaii and even Vermont.
Still, states are racing to lift restrictions.
We want to be safe when we do this.
Today, Connecticut removing most capacity limits. In Las Vegas, dozens of shows are set to go on. Even colleges are announcing in-person graduation ceremonies. But in Massachusetts, a troubling sign of how quickly the virus can travel. After 37 people were infected at a cheerleading facility, the cluster of cases spread across 14 different cities. Meantime, in Idaho, the state legislature shutting down for 2 weeks after an outbreak of cases. Today, while boarding Air Force One to Atlanta, the president stumbled twice and fell but wasn't injured. Once at the CDC, he marked the 100 million vaccine doses given, earlier saying the nation may be able to double that number in the next 40 days. Tonight, the race to open the nation while keeping it safe.
We've learned more about the deadly shooting rampage in Atlanta. All 8 victims have now been identified as surveillance video shows the suspect entering one of the spas. The president and vice president were there today to support the community. Blaine Alexander has more.
The surveillance video is simply chilling. A suspected gunman walks into Young's Asian Massage, the first stop on his deadly rampage. Later, the chaotic aftermath, police rushing to the door, others watching in disbelief. Lost in the carnage, 8 lives. An Army veteran, a newlywed, a business owner. Delana Yan was out for a spa day with her husband. They were in separate rooms when he heard the gunshots.
What do you want people to know about your sister?
Everything was family to her. She always wanted people to keep positive, keep moving forward.
And still fighting for his life, Alcius Hernandez Ortiz. He called his wife as soon as he was hit.
The only thing he said, "I've been shot, please come." She says that she could barely understand him anymore because his voice was starting to fade away.
Today in Atlanta, President Biden and Vice President Harris spent their first official trip together, meeting with members of the Asian American community.
They've been attacked, blamed, scapegoated, and harassed. It's been a year of living in fear for their lives.
On Capitol Hill, a somber silence, and across the country, outrage. Tonight, the suspect's lawyer says in a statement he advised his client to waive his first court appearance, adding, "Our firm will conduct a thorough investigation on his behalf."